to New York City and to this incredible event. But before we start, allow me to extend a warm and respectful welcome to our distinguished guests who have traveled from different parts of the world to be here with us today. And by the way, before I say that, I just want to tell you guys, you all look beautiful. Just really beautiful looking people. So kudos to that. First, I would like to welcome Your Excellency, Madame Mahinur Özdemir Gürstaş, who serves as the Minister of Families and Social Services of the Republic of Turkey. Esteemed panelists, partners, and members of the diplomatic and civil society communities, it is truly an honor to welcome you to New York City to attend this timely conversation centered around the theme, empowering women and girls, education as a pathway to development. And I couldn't be more pleased and more honored to be a part of this dialogue today. As an educator, I understand the importance of education. As a woman, I understand the importance of education. In order for women to become more self-sufficient, more independent, education is vital. It is the key to success. So this conversation could not have come at a more pivotal moment. So as the international community gathers in New York City for CSW 70, we are reminded that education remains one of the most powerful and transformative tools available to advance gender equality, expand opportunities, and certainly strengthen societies. Today's discussion brings together leaders from government, diplomacy, and civil society to reflect on how education can serve as a catalyst for empowering women and girls across the world. We have an exceptional and inspiring group of speakers and panelists with us today. And I am confident that our conversation will offer both thoughtful insights and practical perspectives, which is the most critical aspect of this dialogue, because we're not having conversations just for the sake of having conversations. You will also hear recommendations that many of you who are leaders in your respective spaces can actually go and apply to ensure that women and girls have access to not just education, but also have a seat at the table and be able to make decisions and certainly become economically independent. So I think today's conversation, again, will really provide some essential guidance and tools that all of us can take to our respective jobs to make the world a much better place. Because when women are empowered, the fact is clear, our societies are much better off. So allow me to briefly outline the structure of today's program. Today's program is organized into 3 segments, okay? First, we will hear remarks from the host of today's event, distinguished leaders of NIAD, the Neil Education and Aid Foundation, Ms. Mine Anlar, also Ms. Ayşe Nilgun Deeptaş, and Ms. Sired Deeptaş Bali. Sidre Deeptaş Bali. My apologies. Please forgive me if I mess up your name. Don't hold it against me. I'm trying my best. I really am. I'm trying my best. By the way, I love Turkish food. Following their remarks, we will have the privilege of hearing from our 2 distinguished ministers whose leadership and commitment to advancing gender equality continue to inspire important progress with their respective countries. We will also hear from the Consul General, who has graciously provided this venue for today's gathering. And then the second segment of the program will feature panel discussion with 4 distinguished panelists. Each will briefly introduce themselves and share their perspective before we engage in a moderated session. Finally, the third segment will open the floor to questions and reflections from our audience. So we will be asking questions from you directly. Because again, we want this to be an engaging conversation event. So again, ladies and gentlemen, the pursuit of gender equality and women's empowerment is not simply a moral imperative. It is essential to sustainable development, social progress, and certainly global prosperity. With that in mind, it is with my great pleasure to begin our program. Allow me to introduce Dr. Mine Anlar. Dr. Anlar is a Turkish American businesswoman, absolutely gorgeous at that, an expert in international diplomacy and politics, and a respected leader in the nonprofit sector. She is the owner of World Travel in New York, bringing more than 20 years of experience in international travel, business development, and project management. Dr. Anlar serves as the honorary consul of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Istanbul, U.S. representative and board member of NIAD, board member of Turkish American Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and advisory board member of Haluk Akar's Art, Culture, and Education Foundation. Throughout her work, she has played an instrumental role in strengthening relations between Turkey and Sierra Leone, while championing initiatives that expand access to education and opportunity. Indeed, she is a remarkable advocate and a dynamic leader. It is therefore my deepest honor to invite Dr. Anlar to deliver opening remarks. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Joanna. I'd like to thank Joanna. She's our first time here, our moderator. Normally, our Gordon Topper, our Give Them a Hand Foundation president, UN event director, former director, Gordon Topper. He was doing own program, so she's doing phenomenal introduction. Thank you so much. It's too much, but thank you. At the other hand, I'd like to welcome everyone. Our Family Social Services Minister of Turkey, Madam Mahinur Özdemir Göktaş. Family Minister of Sierra Leone, Her Excellency Madam Isata Mahoy. Our Ambassador Ahmet Yıldız is not here, so our General Consul of Turkey in New York, Ambassador Muhittin Ahmet Yazal. Welcome, honorable delegates and distinguished guests. This year, Gordon Topper, our program producer, he's not be able to be with us, so we have a short greeting from him. We don't want to miss, because we are doing this program all together. It's been 7 years, so 7 years circle. Betan, would you like to? It's coming? All right. Gordon Topper, Give Them a Hand Foundation and United African Congress President and our program partner.
My name is Gordon Topper. I'm a former chief of section at the United Nations in the Department of Administration and Management. I'm the founder and president of Give Them a Hand Foundation, which is one of the main sponsors of this event today. I actually spent the last 6 weeks, if not more, helping to organize this event with my colleague, Bethan. And unfortunately, as a result of the development last week, I'm not able to be there today. Nevertheless, I want to wish this event great success. And I want to thank Nilgun, Sidre, and Mini Anlar from NEHAD, who continue to be very strong advocates for women empowerment in Turkey. And they are amongst the leaders of this event as well. I also want to thank Minister Göktaş from Turkey and Minister Mahoy from Sierra Leone, who both lead ministries in their respective government responsible for empowerment of women and families and children and to aid and to foster development. I also want to thank Dr. Mohammed Nur Hussein from Ethiopia, several times selected to be the best doctor in the Sunni system, as well as Ambassador Sadiq Wai, former ambassador from Sierra Leone to the United Nations, Dr. Julie Kuryansky, Ziba Bakar, who are all forming the panel. I don't want to leave out Russell Daisy, who is going to be singing for you and entertaining you. And of course, Ziba Bakar. And thank you, Joanna LeBlanc, who has gracefully stepped in to be the MC and moderator of this program. All the best. I wish you success and a wonderful event. Thank you.
Amazing. I'd like to thank to Gordon Tupper to put this program together with Beten Carbone and Dr. Judy Kroyansky. I'd like to welcome you all from my end. This is our 7th annual program for this year, empowering women and girls in education, political, public, and social life. This year, we focus on SDG 5, gender equality, and we focus on the women and girls empowerment in leadership, participation in the leadership, and to build their encouragement. So, to raise awareness, we contribute to held in this event every year through the United Nations Status of Women, CSW. This year we are celebrating 70th session, SDG 5. This is today's our topic. And every year, collaborating with our partners, we are doing this event with Give Them a Hand Foundation as NEAT, International Association Applied Psychology, World Citizen Network Foundation. Also this year we have Bagar Foundation to collaborate with us, also United African Congress. These are our program partners. I'd like to thank to all of our partners to put their effort and put this program together. So together we aim to create a platform for meaningful discussion, shared experiences, and collaborative solutions that advance opportunities, empowering women and girls. This year we focus decision-making for girls, principles, and practice for leadership. Decision-making is the ability to choose the best option among different choices. It is one of the most important skills for leadership. Every year, every leader, whether in a family or community, in a country, or in a school, with their decision, is the ability to choose the best option among the different choices. It's one of the most important skills for leadership. For girls, learning how to make good decisions help build confidence, independence, and a strong sense of responsibility. The world is struggling through many challenges, and many of them are the result of poor or careless decision making. In this century, humanity is facing wars, humanitarian crisis, poverty, and environmental problems. These issues remind us that the choices leaders make can greatly affect the lives of millions of people. This is why it's so important to prepare the next generation of leaders, including girls, with strong decision-making skills. When girls are given the opportunity to learn, speak up, and participate in leadership roles, they can contribute thoughtful, compassionate, and responsible decisions that can help build a better society. A responsible leader also considers fairness, ethics, and the well-being of others before making a decision. Practicing decision-making is also very important. As NEAT Foundation, we are committed to supporting the development of our girls, helping them grow into individuals who can make sound decisions, earn a strong and respected place in society, and become impactful and responsible leaders. To achieve this, we provide financial support to their education while also organizing various workshops and programs that help broaden their vision and personal development. Our Vice President Sidre Diptaş Bali, she will be talking about that shortly. Girls can develop these skills by participating in discussions, leading groups, activities, or projects solving problems, and learning from both their successes or their mistakes. These experiences help them grow into confident leaders who are ready to face real-world challenges. Girls have the potential to become strong and inspiring leaders in families, schools, and communities. When girls learn to make thoughtful and confident decisions, they can bring positive change to the society. When girls are empowered with knowledge, confidence, and leadership opportunities, they can play a powerful role in shaping a more peaceful, fair, and sustainable world. By encouraging girls to become strong decision makers today, we are investing in a better leadership for tomorrow. Before I leave the stage, I'd like to thank to our Consul General of Turkey, Ambassador Ahmet Yazal, who support this program with his team. Thanks for your hosting. Dear Ambassador, also many thanks to you, to all of you for being here, contributing and supporting empowering women and girls. Now I'd like to invite President NEAT Foundation, Madam Nilgün Diptaş, to greet you. Please, welcome. You can speak in Turkish.
Programımıza katılımınızdan dolayı sizleri en kalbi duygularla selamlıyorum. Hoş geldiniz, şeref verdiniz.
That's it? Okay. Oh, my. Okay, President Diptaş extends her warm greetings to everyone. Welcome you all distinguished guests, and thanks to you for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Very well, thank you. She's a woman of very little words. And what I've learned over the years is that people who don't talk a lot are some of the most powerful and some of the most brilliant people that you will ever meet. So she's certainly a woman of wisdom. Okay, we'll move forward with the program. And as we talk about education, how many of you guys believe that education is the greatest equalizer, in particular for women? Okay. That's all of us here. I think all of us believe that. But another thing I want you to think about is not just education, access to education, but access to quality education is vital to this conversation. And perhaps we'll talk a little bit more about it as this program continues this afternoon. Next up, I would like to introduce Miss Sidre Diptaş Bali to the podium. Ms. Diptaş Bali graduated from French language. Oh, tu parles français? Très bien. Okay. Ms. Diptaş Bali graduated from the French language teaching department of Marmara University, one of Turkey's more prominent universities, and completed her master's degree in civil society organization and management. Also in Istanbul. Since 2011, she has been active in various non-governmental organizations. She is a founding member of the Neil Education and Aid Association and currently serves as its vice president. Within this scope, she has taken part in the planning and implementation of numerous national and international conferences, workshops, seminars, training programs, and fundraising events. Sidre is also a businesswoman, and since 2005, she has been managing her own restaurant in Istanbul. She is fluent in French as well as English. Please welcome to the stage. Thank you.
Hi. Honorable Minister, esteemed Minister of Sierra Leone, distinguished members of Parliament, their ambassadors, and dear guests. As the Vice President of Neil Education and Aid Association, NEAT, I am truly delighted to be here with you at this important gathering aimed at empowering women in leadership and enhancing their presence in public life. NEAT is a non-governmental organization established voluntarily in 2015 with the mission of ensuring equal access to education for women and girls, and empowering their participation in society. Through local and international partnerships, we develop sustainable projects that support women's economic independence and educational advancement. We offer scholarships and mentorship opportunities to young people, raising them as the strong leaders of tomorrow. In addition to our educational initiatives, we undertake humanitarian relief efforts both nationally and globally, reaching communities from Gaza to Arakan and from Syria to across Africa. Since our foundation, our primary goal has been to empower young women, especially from disadvantaged backgrounds, through education. In this context, we provide scholarships to young women at the undergraduate, master's, and doctoral levels. But we go beyond financial aid. We also organize seminars, conferences, and social projects to support their development in social, cultural, and economic fields. We do not view aid merely as a tool for support, but as a permanent and transformative process. Because we believe that education not only enhances knowledge, but also nurtures self-confidence, amplifies one's voice, and enables active engagement in society. Every girl who gains access to education is a potential leader. When you ensure the education of one girl, you are essentially beginning to transform an entire society. That's why at NEAT, we do not simply offer scholarships. We inspire hope and shape the leaders of tomorrow. Today, millions of girls around the world are deprived of their right to education. Wars, poverty, traditional norms, and inequality prevent these children from going to school and realizing their dreams. In conflict zones like Gaza, education is no longer a right, but an almost unreachable dream. Therefore, while we are here to speak about the power of education, we must not remain silent about the devastation experienced by women and girls in such regions. Because education is not just about pens and notebooks. It also means stability, peace, and hope. We invite the international community to safeguard the right to education for women in crisis zones and amplify their voices. Let us work together to ensure their voices are heard, their rights are protected, and their futures are secured. This is a responsibility we must all share. As NEAT, we represent a network of solidarity that connects local initiatives with global impact. Our organization continues to grow through the dedication of our volunteers, the determination of our scholarship recipients, and the trust of our supporters. We are committed to building a world where women have greater representation, not only in social life, but also in decision-making, science, the arts, and politics. And we will continue to walk this path together. Working together is crucial to integrating family and community-based educational models into national and international systems. And our organization is ready to fulfill its responsibility in promoting best practice, strengthening partnerships, and developing initiatives that support the women leaders of tomorrow. Through our shared efforts, we can build a world where every woman and girl has access to quality education. In closing, I would like, of course, to once thank again our esteemed Minister of Family and Social Service, the Honorable Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs of Sierra Leone, our Consul General of New York, our valuable participants, and all members of NEAT for their support. I wish you all an inspiring and productive panel. Thank you very much.
Before we move to our ministers, I'd like to invite our New York General Counsel, Ambassador Ahmet Yazal, to put his words. Thank you.
Well, firstly, I have to say on this day, it's a great pleasure and an honor to start addressing this event by the words Madam Ministers. It's very meaningful because generally we men talk about women's problems as if the problem itself is about women. No, it's not. Women are not the problem. The problem is the system. They had no say in its creation. So yes, I heartfully believe that we need to empower women. The question is not how and why, but first question we need to ask is why haven't we done it already? Education, yes, it's a key. Education is a key to gender equality. But sometimes that's my feeling, but we make the mistake of thinking that we only need to educate women so they can fight harder to get their deserved place. No, we need to educate the men so they don't create obstacles in the path of women. They understand that woman is half of our societies and they are the better half. So, without further ado, I'd like to leave the floor to the woman who really should own this day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. So he is indeed a champion for women. Thank you so much. We need more and more men in that capacity. Now let's move over to our distinguished ministers. Who will come to the podium and share a few words with us. The first minister that we're going to hear from is the Minister of Families and Social Services of the Republic of Turkey, Her Excellency Mahinur Özdemir Göktaş. My apologies. She is a minister from Turkey, as I said, and also she became the first woman in Belgian Parliament to wear a hijab. Thank you so much, Madam Minister.
So thank you so much, dear Minister, esteemed representatives of civil society and academia, the representative of NEAT. Thank you so much for organizing this event. Ladies and gentlemen, because we have some gentlemen also in this room, today we are here to address women's empowerment through education, leadership, and social participation. While global progress in girls' access to education is notable, women's representation in leadership positions has not reached the desired level. Global data indicate that women hold nearly 1/4 of parliamentary seats, while their representation at senior executive levels remains far more limited. This picture shows that education must translate into skills, opportunity, and leadership capacity. Our country's developments and competitiveness also depend on his. For this reason, we approach education as the backstone of a broader empowerment ecosystem. Under the leadership of our President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, we carry out initiatives that strengthen women's access to opportunities, their active participations in social life, and their leadership capacity. Through our strategy, document and action plans for women's empowerment, we address education, employment, and participation in decision-making mechanisms as mutually reinforcing policy areas. With a similar vision, we introduce our women-led sustainable development, focusing on innovation, competitiveness, and productivity on 8th of March. Distinguished participants, there is a very clear relationship. Educations open the door to economic empowerment, thereby enabling women to assume stronger roles in public policies. In this sense, education is the most important driving force of social transformation. However, the real question is this: does education prepare girls to lead? Through the projects we have implemented, we aim to develop academic success, self-confidence, a sense of responsibility, and a leadership vision. Through the Turkish Engineers Girls Project, we have supported female engineering students with scholarship and internship, enabling them to better prepare for professional life. On the other hand, we support young women who are not in education, employment, or training through the Young Women Building Their Future project, ensuring that the path to leadership is accessible to all. In the digital age, leadership depends on the effective use of technology. Therefore, we invest in programs that support women in artificial intelligence and data science. We also provide financial literacy training, helping them manage resources and make sound economic decisions. Distinguished participants, through all these efforts, we aim to empower women to lead in their field. We consider the education leadership link as a strategic priority, recognizing that leadership requires deliberate and sustained investment. Today, it's clear worldwide that excluding women from economic life and decision-making mechanism not only undermines the principle of equality between women and men, but also limits development. In this framework, we cannot evaluate education policies separately from economic strategies, nor economic participation separately from democratic governance. Distinguished participants, we recognize that each country has its own unique conditions, priorities, and needs. However, we also know very well that successful and transformative models create an impact that transcends borders. With these understandings, we see cooperations, mutual understanding, mutual learning, shared responsibility as the fundamental pillars of a more just, more comprehensive, and stronger future. In this regard, I wish to convey our heartfelt thanks to NEAT for graciously hosting this science event and for their continued support to the educations of young girls and female students. Turkey is ready to share its experience in this field and to engage in cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for those insightful and inspiring remarks. Yes. Okay, next up, we will have our other distinguished speaker, Her Excellency Sada Mahoy, who is the Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Before becoming a minister, she worked at the World Bank. She is known as an economist, as well as an academic and a public servant whose career has been dedicated to advancing gender equality, social protection, and inclusive development. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure for the government of Sierra Leone to participate in this important discussion, empowering women and girls, educational pathways to women's empowerment, leadership, and participation. I commend the organizers for convening this timely dialogue during the 70th session of the Commission of the Status of Women. Education remains one of the most powerful tools for transforming societies and unlocking the full potential of women and girls. In Sierra Leone, we have learned that girls are educated, that when girls are educated, communities prosper, institutions become stronger, and democracies become more inclusive. Yet, we also recognize that across the world, Many girls, particularly those in rural communities and marginalized communities, continue to suffer, continue to be discriminated against, continue to face barriers that limit their opportunities to learn, to lead, and to participate fully in public life. The government of Sierra Leone is committed to dismantling these barriers through initiatives such as the free quality school education and implementation of the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act of 2022. We are working to ensure that girls not only enter classrooms, but also remain in schools, complete their education, and develop the skills and confidence required to assume leadership roles in society. The radical inclusion policy adopted by the government of Sierra Leone has increased school retention and enhanced learning outcomes with one of its objectives, to leaving no one behind. This policy was also reinforced by the Basic Education Act of 2023. We have seen that teenage pregnancy, early marriage is one of the major barriers. And because of this, when girls become pregnant, they no longer attend school. So this was the reason why we had the radical inclusion program or policy, which allows for pregnant girls to go to school. So even when you're pregnant, you have the opportunity. And now we ensure that also you have some space to leave your child while you go to learn. The child is also being looked after. Well, it's a step in the right direction. We're not there yet, but this is one of the most important policies that the government has enacted in years. However, access to education alone is not enough. Education must be transformative. It must equip girls with the knowledge, critical thinking, and leadership capacities necessary to participate meaningfully in decision-making processes at every level, from community leadership to national governance and global engagement. For this reason, Sierra Leone continues to invest in policies that promote girls' education in science, technology, and innovation, while also strengthening civic education and leadership development for young women. The government of Sierra Leone has introduced automatic scholarship for women and girls varying for science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and science, and mathematics. Today, more adolescent girls and women are enrolling in the STEM more than ever before. Equally important is the role of families, communities, and cultural institutions. For this, we are binded together, and for this, we also support each other. Empowerment does not occur in isolation. When parents, teachers, traditional leaders, and community actors support aspirations of girls, we create environments where young women are encouraged to lead, to innovate, and to contribute to development of their nation. As we work together towards the realization of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 5 and the broader aspirations of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, it is essential that we strengthen partnerships between countries, cultures, and also communities, including civil society organizations. Together, we must ensure that educational systems are inclusive, equitable, and responsive to the needs of girls in all diversities, including girls with disabilities. Excellencies here present, empowering women and girls through education is not only a matter of justice, it is a strategic investment in sustainable development, peace, and prosperity. When girls are given the opportunity to learn, to lead, and to participate, they become powerful agents of change within their communities and beyond. Sierra Leone remains committed to working with partners to expand educational opportunities for girls and to ensure that those opportunities translate into real pathways to leadership, civic engagement, and equal participation in public life. Excellencies here present, I thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Minister Mahoy, for those powerful reflections. And in addition to what she said, keep in mind that every year, millions and millions of girls are being forced into marriage, not just internationally, but right here in the United States. At this moment, we will take a brief moment for a photo session.
So we're going to do the photo shootings with the ministers before they leave.
Yes. So please, the photo session will be with the ministers, His Excellency, the Consul General, the leadership of NIAD, and our panelists. As we transition into the next portion of our program, I would like to introduce a brief cultural event. We are fortunate to have with us today Mr. Russell Daisy, who is a Broadway singer, pianist, and a composer who has contributed to numerous programs at the United Nations over the years. For today's event, he has written a special song specifically for this gathering. So please join me in welcoming Russell Daisy.
Women and girls, 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 women and girls, 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 modern women and girls, lead our world. Women and girls, 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 women and girls, 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 empowered women and girls, lead our world. Bum, bum, da-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. For over 6 decades, notable women leading their nations all over the world. Madam President, Madam Prime Minister, Madam Chancellor, all over the world. Indira Gandhi, Benazir Bhutto, Angela Merkel led the way. Claudia Scheinbaum, Sinai Takaichi, Georgia Maloney are leading today. Women and girls, 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 women and girls, 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 modern women and girls lead our world. Women and girls, 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 empowered girls, 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 empowered women and girls lead our world. Bum, bum. I'm the band. I'm the band. Bum, bum. I am the band, band, band. When women and girls speak, hear the drum beat, feel the heartbeat of women and girls. Confident shining, always defining the breadth and depth of women and girls. Women and girls, women and girls, modern women and girls lead our world. Women and girls, women and girls, modern women and girls, empowered women and girls, modern women and girls lead our world. Lead our world. Lead our world, bum, bum. Lead our world, bum, bum. Lead our world, bum, bum. Lead our world!
Thank you so much, Russell, for this very beautiful and meaningful song that you have written specifically for us as women. We really appreciate it. As we proceed, let us all say, Happy International Women's Month. Let's all say it together. Happy International Women's Month. Yes, yes. I want you all to wake up. Because I know it's been a long program, but we're almost there. So we're now entering the last portion of the program, which is essentially the panel discussion, and that's when you will have an opportunity to ask questions. So with these experts we have as panelists, I'm confident we're going to have an incredibly productive conversation. First, let me start out with Ambassador Y. Please come to the stage, I guess. Yes, Thank you. So, Ambassador Y was appointed as Sierra Leone's ambassador to the United States and 7 additional countries in the Western Hemisphere from 2018 through 2024. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit something about Ambassador Y. I live in D.C. I moved to D.C. about 10 years ago after law school from Indiana. And I work a lot with the diplomatic corps in D.C. because of the nature of the work that I do. And before joining the firm, I used to work in Congress as a legislative director, so worked on policy impacting the African continent and the entire world. So we get to know the ambassadors, right? We get to observe them from a distance. We get to watch them to see what they're up to. We get to determine who's influential and who's not influential. And we get to determine whose words matter and whose words don't matter. And this man, his words mattered within the diplomatic corps in Washington. He did an extraordinary job on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone and his government. And we will forever be grateful for your leadership in Washington. As someone who's still building my career in the international affairs world, I do aspire to accomplish some of the things you've accomplished. And most importantly, when he speaks, people listen and people actually respect him. Okay? And that's very rare. People can smile in your face, they can talk to you, it doesn't mean they respect you. Okay? And what they say behind your back is what really matters, not what they say to you. And behind closed doors, Ambassador Y is a very respected man in Washington, D.C. But in any event, I wanted to put it out there. Let me continue with his extraordinary bio. Elected as ECOWAS Secretary General and co-chair for diaspora engagement and for 54 African ambassadors accredited to the United States, and on January 16th, 2026, joined the Gotham Lobbying and Government Relations firm as Director of Diplomatic Outreach to advance the organization's Africa Practice Department. Congratulations on the next phase of your career. And before becoming an ambassador, he was a member of the New York community, working tirelessly for the people of New York, for not just Africans, but everybody in New York. So in the NYPD, he served as a policy advisor under 3 police commissioners and contributed to the introduction of the worldwide policy body camera during his 2013 candidacy as the first diaspora African to ever run for public advocate in New York City. Extraordinary. At this time, I would like to invite Ambassador Y to take the podium, and he will share a few words with us. And then once he's done, I will do the same for each of the panelists. Thank you so much.
Don't leave. Please come back, Madam MC. Give this lady an incredible applause. She was one of the movers and shakers that was guiding people like me to all the things she was saying. Give her a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, they say never give a podium to an activist, a troublemaker, creative troublemaker, and somebody who came from the streets through government to the highest diplomatic post any Sierra Leonean has ever had, and that is to serve as Sierra Leone's ambassador to the United States. But before I go further, I want to express my profound gratitude and thanks to the organizer here, but most especially the woman I call my sister, Dr. Miniala of NIAD. Please give her a round of applause. Today, I know when I do this, perhaps they might fire me, but that's okay. I have to introduce you all to perhaps a gentleman that has broken barriers in lobbying and government relations in the United States to create the first Africa practice in the history of lobbying and government relations, Mr. David Schwartz. Could you please let's give him a round of applause. And of course, I can't forget my brothers, Gordon, Dr. Nurase, my mentor, and most especially my former policy advisor, Dr. Judy Koreansky, who is a trailblazer and has done a lot for Sierra Leone, and has done not only for Sierra Leone, but has done a lot for the world. Give her a big round of applause also. My colleagues told me that I should speak for 30 minutes. But Judy told me, if you speak for 30 minutes, we're going to call the cops and MRPD to throw you out of the South, so I'm not going to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, and the distinguished guests, I made a few remarks here. Today, I want to talk about a powerful catalyst for change, the empowerment of women. You know, quite frankly, let me just leave my prepared remarks. I'm going to do it from the heart. The simple fact that in the 21st century, leaders are talking about empowerment of women and girls is absolutely unacceptable. Women, of course they say woe unto man, they are our mothers. They are our sisters. If you really want this world to move forward, don't talk about these barriers of empowering women. Women are the heart, beat, and soul for humanity. Without them, we all will not be here. So why do you need to empower them? They should be a part and parcel of anything that we do. And those of you in government, you are not going to move that pendulum without activism. You must collaborate with people, institutions, inside and outside your country. I'm speaking from strength. I'm speaking from experience. And that only comes through collaboration. Let me give you a very simple example of some women in Sierra Leone that I know of. This woman here, not our Consul General in Turkey, Minnie was the first person to introduce me to the First Lady of Turkey, who in turn we took our First Lady in Sierra Leone to introduce her to Turkey's First Lady, and subsequently the Turkish First Lady introduced the President of Sierra Leone to the President of Turkey. So we just look at that. It wasn't done by men. A woman did that. So today, the foreign policy that is taking place in Turkey came through relationships from somebody who did not even have a title. Second, in Sierra Leone today, there are women who have established orphanages to help educate girls whose parents are no more. And I wish the minister was here, because I want to speak directly to the Sierra Leone government. It is wonderful to talk about statistics. People don't eat statistics. These women have set up their systems. They are educating these women. There's a woman in Seattle, Washington, who is doing two jobs. The first check goes to supporting these women in the orphanage she has created. Why does somebody have to go work an extra job? That's government's responsibility. And those women, the 35% of women in Sierra Leone government, they must be agitating, advocating to saying that those women, those orphanages in Sierra Leone who are not funded should be funded, partly funded by government. And those of us in the international community must be able to pull our hearts together to do that. Now, let me go to something. When I was ambassador, my friends are all here. I was the first ambassador in recorded history to say, you know, I have a lot of friends. Let's come together. Judy, Gordon, Dr. Nur Hussain, all of my friends came together on my birthday. I said to the First Lady, I am going to bring my friends to raise money for your organization. I was the first ambassador in recorded history to raise over $120,000 with my friends to support the Hands of Our Girls. That's a record. Nobody has ever done it. And when Sierra Leone people died, I'm speaking not anecdotally, I'm speaking facts. There was a tanker tragedy in Sierra Leone. Those families could not get proper burials. What happened? Judy Koreansky took a plane from here to go to Sierra Leone, mobilized those families, gave them money so that they could have better funerals for those who were deceased. Could somebody tell me that's not empowerment? So let us stop the politics. Let us talk about the human ticks. Because when we come together as people of goodwill, I tell you, there is nothing we cannot do. I intend to work with the leadership of Gotham. Now we're going to be talking to my sister because I know her bandwidth. We're going to make change in this country. We're going to make change in the world. And that world is going to be impacted by the work women, men, we call it the human family. I thank you, my dear sister.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Y. You see, when I said those things that I said about him, not because of flattery, because it's the truth, I didn't even know he had done all those extra things. Strongly remarkable. I mean, the fact that you're able to gather your friends, come together, and raise money to address issues impacting the people of your country, that is remarkable. Because at the end of the day, you need money to move some of these objectives, to make them happen, right? And being able to, knowing how to leverage your network and your relationships to ensure that you improve the lives of your people or citizens in general is very commendable. But most importantly, for a person to do that kind of work, they have to believe in it. You can't force them. It doesn't come with the title, right? You become an ambassador. It could be a very cushy position. Come to Washington, go to meetings and dinners, and you stay low key. Your government forgets you're there. You could be there forever, right? But when you have an ambassador that actually takes the extra step, the initiative to galvanize his friends, right? To raise money, to address some of the critical issues impacting people in his country, that is very remarkable, because leadership is about making an impact. What's the purpose of being leadership if you're not making an impact? It defeats the purpose. So let's move on to our next panelist, Dr. Judy Koreansky. She is a noted international clinical psychologist in the faculty of Columbia University Teachers College, and has been doing that for the past 22 years. Wow, remarkable. And at the United Nations, she is the main NGO advisor to the mission of the International Association.
No, the mission of Sierra Leone.
Mission of Sierra Leone to the UN. There you go. Excellent, excellent. As president of the Psychology Coalition of NGOs accredited to ECOSOC at the UN, she successfully campaigned to include mental health and well-being in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. An active advocate for the rights of women and girls, she co-developed a girls' empowerment camp in Africa, has presented at parallel events for the Commission of the Status of Women NGO/NY Forum, co-written many statements on women's issues for the United Nations, co-written songs like Hands Off Our Girls, thank you for that, for the First Lady of Sierra Leone, and Every Woman, Every Child. She also serves on boards of African Voices of African Mothers and the United African Congress, and co-edited a book on the changing lives of women around the world. An award-winning journalist, she co-founded the International Women Radio and TV. Dr. Judy's fame is felt all across the globe, and certainly right here in the United States. Thank you so much, Dr. Judy.
Wonderful to be here with all these friends and the ongoing experience that we have in the partnership between Sierra Leone and Turkey, which is so amazing, and the international group that we have here. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much. So I made a PowerPoint. If we can go to the first slide here. Yes? Are we doing this? Okay, so I'm going to make some comments from my background as a psychologist, since we're talking about empowerment of women and girls and education and pathways to their leadership. A lot of this has to do with their psychology, their feelings about themselves, their self-esteem, their well-being, and also their upbringing. Certainly, every single one of us here have, and that's not the first slide. If we get to that one, the introduction's fine. And then, there we go. So essential lessons in leadership that I want to go over that I was just mentioning. So in the first slide there, if we turn to the first slide, okay. So decision making, we heard that word used before, is very important. This is something we're all doing. So we're all leaders in our world in making decisions and making choices all the time. I show you here the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development from the UN and SDG 5, which is about empowering women and girls. And what it says in the targets there is, and what we hear all the time in meetings about women, is that women want to be at the table making decisions about their economic well-being, what's going on in their political world, and constantly making those decisions. We're making decisions all the time. You made a decision to come here. We'll make a decision all the time in every aspect of our life, as it shows here. Which road are we going to take? What are we going to do today? Constantly. And we're making choices every time we make decisions. I love that little two pictures over there show something about what I enjoyed learning my own lesson in making choices, which I don't like to make because I like to do it all. So the reason I'm showing you now is that some young girl said the very thing that I said. So it's not like I want to pat myself on the back about it, but it is an interesting point that when I was in second grade, the teacher said to me, do you want to be the queen of the play, the school play in second grade, or do you want to be the editor of the newspaper, the class newspaper? Which do you choose? So, Mine, which would you choose? Editor of the newspaper. Ziva, which would you choose? The queen of the play. Oh, this is great. Okay. So I said, I choose both. But that's been the lesson of my life. I'm always choosing both, everything. So in the next slide, we see here that there are, in fact, very developmental stages from psychology that go into being a leader. And the most famous of those developmental psychologists that I worked with children a great deal when I started out in my career, asking them the same things about decision-making and choices, and also learning about how their minds work, because that will determine the choices that they make in their life. Some leaders are made, some leaders can be learned. And Piaget, who's a very famous developmental psychologist, says that there are stages that kids go through in order to develop their brain, their cognition, which leads us to leadership and choices. And that basically kids get to make those choices intelligently when they're about 8 years old. And you might be a little surprised to hear this in the next slide, which shows you that, guess what? Girls tend to have more developed decision-making and cognition skills than boys do. They develop their skills a little bit earlier. And why? This has to do with the brain development, that the corpus callosum, which connects the right and the left brain, develops a little earlier in girls. And so their cognitive skills develop a little bit earlier. Not that boys don't catch up at a certain point, but I think it's very interesting to know for anybody who works with children or who has a child that this is a very natural physiological phenomenon. Now, one of the things that we really do have to learn very well is analysis skills. Certainly if you're going to go into diplomacy and being a politician in the future in your world. And so I show here a young girl playing bridge. Who plays bridge here? Anybody? I mean, not bridge, chess. Chess. Oh, Minhei. Okay, what's the experience of playing chess? Bridge does the same thing, actually, but what is the experience? Say it loud.
What do you mean experience?
What do you get out of playing chess? Why do you do it?
Oh, it's strategic.
Strategic, exactly. It's strategy. This is what it takes to be a leader, playing chess, because you have to think about who you're moving where, all the pieces, and you have to think ahead, not just to the next step that you're doing, but what is that other person going to do, and then how are those pieces going to move on the board there, and what's the long-term strategy? So that's the point there. Now, in the next slide, we see the two phases. You all know this for your own experience, or you know this for your own kids, that there are two phases, basically, in child development that lead to this sense of independence, because part of being a leader is feeling independent. You're confident in your making your decisions. And this happens at the terrible twos. I'm sure you've all been a terrible two, or you know them. And when kids say no, they're just obstreperous, and they get that way. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, they just say no. But this is positive, because in psychological terms, it is called separation individuation. It's a way that the kid, no matter whether they're right or wrong, get to be different from mother, separated from mommy, that they are symbiotic from in the earlier stages. And so this is a very important step of saying no. And then it's recapitulated. You've all been teenagers, so have I, when you get to be a teenager. And if you work with teenagers or you teach them and you know how upsetting that can be when they're also rebellious and obstreperous. But that's also part of the separation, individuation psychologically. So in the next slide, we see some very inspiring pictures of empowerment. And what empowerment means really is taking a stand to say, I can do this, and all these issues of independence and self-agency, we actually call it. And in the next slide that we see here, there's some exercises, since it was mentioned that I do this girls empowerment program that I did actually with the First Lady of an African country, and taught them exercises that were about leadership and empowerment. So just a very quick sample of them, of some of the techniques. So if you press on the picture, and the little the strip will come on in the bottom, and then it will play.
For building
There we go.
confidence, the girls introduce themselves with positive adjectives.
I'm Deborah, I'm confident.
All right.
I'm confident, I'm very sweet.
You are very brave. Some exercises foster empowerment, like feeling strong as a tree, not a pushover like a leaf, and others encourage leadership.
Okay, now somebody else be the leader. You be the leader. Now we're going to follow you.
Oh, well, it stopped, but I love that one, because each of the girls takes a chance to be the leader of a conga line that Russell used to do with when we went to Haiti all the time with children, and they get a chance to see, oh, I'm the leader, and everybody's following me. Well, how does that feel? Then we go into, how does it feel for you to be walking this way or that way, and everybody else is like following you? Some girls are very shy about it. Others are like, okay, we're on our way there. And this thing about also being a leader has to say with owning a quality that you like about yourself, and then having everybody repeat it. So say something you like about yourself. You mind standing up?
I'm cute girl.
You what?
Cute girl.
Well,
Okay.
that you what?
She's a cute girl.
Cute? A cute girl?
Yes.
Okay. So say to everybody, now after she says this, I want everybody to say, what's your name?
Related.
Yuleta? Muleta. Okay, so you say, my name is Muleta and I'm a cute girl, and you're all going to say, hello, Muleta, you are a cute girl. And you're going to feel what it feels like that you've been witnessed by everybody, okay? I am Muleta. We'll say it together. Hello, I am Muleta, and I am a cute girl. Now, everybody.
Hello, Muleta.
You are a cute girl. Yes. How do you feel about that? Okay, thank you. That was very sweet and very courageous. But young girls love that experience. Really, because it really gives them a chance to say what they like about themselves and then to be witnessed about it. It's very, very, very powerful. I totally love it. Okay, the next slide shows styles. This is my favorite thing. It's like a whole workshop that I do about styles. So I'm just going to briefly go over it. We have different styles of leadership. That some of us come from different parts of the quadrants of our brain. It's an elaboration that's based on years and years of experience from a guy who used to do management at NBC. And it breaks the left and the right brain into different parts. And so basically, are you the type of person who needs the facts? If you're making a decision, are you always thinking about data and what the statistics are and what the rational way to be? It's like what lawyers think. What's the right way to do something? That can be your type of leadership. Or you might be this bottom type of leadership, the organizer. Those are the kinds of leaders who like to think, was it done before? I'm not going to do something new or different. How did it work out before? Was it done before? And so think that's the kind of you, that's also a leader, but a leader based on a different style. Then in the the lower right there, that's the relational kind of leaders. The people like the psychologists like me, like they want to make everybody happy, okay? Are you the kind of leader who has, let's get the group together, let's make sure we're all on the same page, and that kind of leader. Or you could be the upper right quadrant leader who are the visionaries, who want to do something different. Totally opposite from the people who, what did we do before? Something, if it's wild and crazy and new and fresh, that's the kind of leader you want to be. And then there's a whole scenario here about the followers, like, are people willing to go to a new dimension with you if that's your kind of leader? Okay, next slide. So we have to break the barriers of leadership and see that. Oh, here. Okay, role models. We're at this slide. All right, there are different role models that obviously influence our. What is that one? Okay, we skipped one. All right, never mind. We're here. So there's so many different leaders. We heard that earlier about the names of different leaders in the song that Russell did. You have your Turkey, a leader up there that I spent some time with at the World Government Summit. And so from Turkey to Sierra Leone, and the First Lady of Sierra Leone is quite a powerhouse leader in getting laws passed, banning early marriage. That was done by her working in the parliament, and then getting a resolution passed about access to justice, which for survivors of sexual violence, which is exactly what this Commission on the Status of Women is about, access to justice, and being the president of the Office of First Lady. So think about who are the role models that really goad you on. The next slide really shows what I just described to you about the national ban and getting the national law and also the international law. And then different phrases. I mean, we all come up with phrases that are really inspirational to us. One that I love is coming from actually a representative, the woman on the left there, who was a local representative in the House of Representatives. She said, "A woman's place is in the House of Representatives," which is really cool. And then you see Mary Robinson saying that a woman's leader doesn't just rock the cradle, she rocks the system. So in raising girls, to the next slide, it's how you really teach your girl child makes a big difference. And girls like roughhousing is in that photo there, just as much as boys do. And now there's all kinds of movements that teach boys how to be nurturing to their little sisters. That's really quite amazing. The stories that are told that you see down here, not the Cinderella stories, but stories about how girls are in power. Read and tell them stories then. And then how parents treat you. What you see over there is I was very lucky that my parents both put me in a position of being a leader. You see 3 different cars there. So when it came time for the family to get a new car, they said to me, I was, again, 8 years old at the time, "Judy, what car should we get?" What do I know about cars? But I picked a car, and they got the car. So, I mean, I'm so grateful to my parents for doing that. Why would they do that? They just did. And then you see up there the White House. So my father took me on a trip to the White House, and he said, "You see that door over there? The president might come out of that door over there. And when he comes out of that door, I want you to ask him a question." So I said, "What? What question?" He said, "I don't care what question. Whatever question comes to your mind, you ask him a question. And go to the front of the line and do that." So that's the kind of thing I learned as a child, and I think it had some influence in what my sense of self-agency is. And it's something that, as psychologists, we always teach parents about doing. Following their dreams is really important, as you see in the next slide. This is some girls from Africa that I worked with about what is their dream. I've spent a lot of time in Japan, 20 years in Japan, back and forth, having a radio show, doing different things, lecturing to students. And I would ask them, these are college students, what are your dreams? And I remember a girl standing in front, "I want to be a photographer." I said, "That's great. Be a photographer." She said, "No, I can't be a photographer." "Why not?" "Because my parents would never accept me being a photographer." So it's just, look at that, how that message destroys the young girl. So here's just some really cute little girls saying what they want to be. Same thing, press on the photo. And
I want to be a teacher, to teach young children, because they want to learn and have better life.
I want to be a strong woman, and I want to be able to manage life and be responsible.
I want to be an actor in theater.
Now that I'm able to be educated, I want to know how to run my own business and control it by myself.
Schedule, life skills 1. Okay, that's fine. So how lovely that these, like, championing those girls to do that. And getting messages from people that you can do things like Ambassador Y here. I'm so grateful to him that he appointed me to be his policy advisor, that we were talking about all kinds of international relations and all sorts of legal issues and social issues and ECOWAS issues. And bless you, Ambassador Y, for giving me that opportunity, believing in me to do that, and then stepping into that role. So girls have rights, which is part of what, in the next slide, is just the message of saying that there are lots of NGOs, fortunately. That wasn't the one, but that's okay. I could say a word about that. There are men who support what the women are doing, called the He for She, including the Secretary General, who has his Unite campaign against all the violences against women, which are wonderful. And then from this particular, in the next slide, CSW, to know that girls have rights, that they have the right, most importantly from a psychological point of view, in the next slide it shows to say yes or no. So off this slide and off this one, girls have, here we go, to yes and no. Very, very critical. So saying yes in the next slide, saying yes to taking risks when people ask you to do something, like Ambassador Y asking me to be his policy advisor. Thank you, bless you, for the rest of my life. And then also saying no to things that stop you from doing really what you can do and are able to do, like no to shame, no to embarrassment, no to fears. I had a student who was told me she wanted to be the Prime Minister of Jamaica. And there was, at an event that I did, the ambassador of Jamaica sitting right there. I said, go over and talk to him. She said, no, I can't do that. What am I going to say to him? Just like my father in the White House. I said, anything, just introduce yourself. And so there she is in the green. She went over finally and went to talk to him. After that, he invited her to various diaspora events, etc., and it totally changed her whole way of being. So I want to conclude with a little exercise of you're all doing with each other, about the yes and no. So if we go to the last slide about yes and no. So most of you are sitting next to somebody. If not, go to the person in front of you or in back of you. And one person with the shorter hair be A, and the person with the longer hair be B. And A, make a request of the person you're sitting next to or your partner. And then B, as the partner, just say yes to that. And feel the energy of saying yes. So A is going to make a request, anything. It doesn't mean, it doesn't matter. You could say, raise your arm. You could say, shake my hand. You could say whatever you want to say. And B, you say yes, and then do it. So let's experience that. Go ahead. Turn to the person next to you. Make a request. A, say something. Go ahead. Bustle, you do that. With Alex. Mohammed, you do that. All right, the two of you. Do I see you doing that? Go ahead, make a request. You have somebody sitting next to you. Okay? And you guys, and you guys, and you guys. And say yes very powerfully. Yes! Right. Okay. Now, I want you to do the same thing. A, make a request. And now B, say no. All right? Go. Do it. Say no very powerfully. Okay, now I want you to feel which energy you had the most intensity with. Was it the yes or the no? It was the yes. How many felt the yes was more powerful? How many felt the no was more powerful? Okay, it's a practice, but just for fun, now switch so you get the experience the other way. Now B, make the request, and A, say yes. And then try it again, and then say no, because you have to have your own experience, and then we're finished. I want to hear the yeses very powerfully. Okay, are you saying yes? All right, now B, make your request. The other person makes the request. And now A, you say no. Okay, so now for you guys, which one of you guys had the most power in your yes? Raise your hand. Who had the most power in their no? Okay, more of you had more power in the no. Okay, it's a great exercise to do. Lots of fun. So you see, there are ways where we have our style, we have the way people teach us, we have our different exercises we could do, we have support from other friends, all towards helping us to become the leaders and the power brokers that we want to be. So thank you very much, and what fun.
You can join us on the stage, Dr. Judy.
Should I say yes or no?
Yes, you can't say no. You can't say no. But thank you so much, Dr. Judy. She is indeed a professor, okay? I mean, her style of engaging us is just very remarkable. So I know the UN enjoys having you because some of these sessions can be very boring, but you find a way to make them fun and very interactive. My only regret is that we don't have enough time because this could have gone on literally like the slide you had on leadership. That could have been a whole day session on leadership. So thank you so much for bringing substance to this event. Greatly appreciated. So now let's move on to our next speaker, Dr. Mohammed Nur Hussein. You see, I'm getting better with my pronunciations. Proud of myself. But in any event, Dr. Nur Hussein retired from SUNY Downstate Medical Center as associate professor. We have a lot of professors here today. Okay, as associate professor of medicine emeritus after serving 3 decades at SUNY Downstate and Kings County Hospital Center, both in Brooklyn. He was the head of the geriatric medicine at time of retirement. Born in Adwa, Ethiopia, he was one of the few high school graduates who were selected by the emperor to go to the newly established Haile Selassie Military Academy in Harar. Upon graduation as second lieutenant, he became one of the 6 selected military officers to go to Yugoslavia to study medicine, thus becoming the first Ethiopian military doctor. He served in the Armed Forces Hospital from 1968 until 1972. He was sent to the U.S. for further specialization in internal medicine and pulmonary medicine. The deteriorating security situation after the revolution in Ethiopia, in which his younger brother was killed, forced him to seek asylum in the United States. Upon completion of residency and fellowship in 1977, he joined the faculty at SUNY Downstate, where he remained until retirement. He is the recipient of numerous awards for services to the community in Brooklyn and has been listed in the Castle Connolly Best Doctors in New York in 2009 and 2010. Dr. Nur Hussein is a humanitarian and a human rights activist, a fighter for peace and justice everywhere, and an ardent Pan-Africanist serving as the national chairman of United African Congress. Dr. Nur Hussein is a passionate advocate of women's rights, another champion. Whoop, whoop, thank you. He is one of the founders and president of Wagata Incorporated, a 501c3 humanitarian organization registered in New York with a mission to heal and empower survivors of rape in the recent Tigray war in his motherland. He is a board member of Ethio-American Doctors Group dedicated to building an internationally accredited state-of-the-art hospital in Addis Ababa. Dr. Nur Hussein is also a board member of Brooklyn for Peace and a longtime member of Physicians for Human Rights, Physicians for Social Responsibility, and Physicians for National Health Program. He is also the author of a well-received memoir titled Made in Ethiopia. Dr. Nur Hussein, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for this lengthy, lovely introduction, Joanna. It's so good to be among friends. I'm particularly happy to see my good friend, Dr. Mina Annar. It was her word of travel that actually planned and organized my dream trip to Uzbekistan, made it possible for me to see the fabled cities of Samarkand and Bukhara and Tashkent. So beautiful. Thank you for that memorable. I also commend really the NAIAD for hosting this important, and I emphasize very important and really timely, frankly, event. Thank also to the government of Turkey for advocating and also making this incredible, beautiful auditorium to hold this event. Well, Excellencies, distinguished guests, sisters and brothers, I would like to talk a little bit about, my experience in this area, recent experience, I should say. By the way, I enjoyed your talk, Dr. Judy. I particularly like the quote from Bella Abzug and Mary Robinson. Very, very appropriate. Well, the advancement of women's rights has been a persistent theme throughout history and remains ongoing. For example, the highly developed nation of Switzerland in the heart of Europe did not grant women the right to vote until 1971. Think about that, 1971. In numerous regions across the globe, women face subjugation, abuse, and trafficking. Such violations often escalate during periods of conflict. Recent examples include Bosnia, Tigray in Ethiopia, Sudan, Myanmar, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Ukraine, to name a few, where sexual violence has been increasingly employed as a systematic instrument of warfare. The normalization of these practices is deeply troubling, as they are transformed from isolated occurrences into intentional strategies within modern conflicts. The following remarks will address one specific conflict, in this case Tigray. Dubbed the deadliest conflict of the 21st century by various news organizations, the sexual violence occurred on a massive scale, The war ended with the cessation of hostilities agreement signed in Pretoria, November 4, 2022, after 2 years of carnage, where war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide were committed with impunity. The agreement stipulated that an independent investigation would be conducted into these war crimes, with provisions to ensure that those responsible are held accountable. It hasn't happened. 286,000 women were sexually assaulted, according to the report by the Commission of Inquiry on Tigray Genocide. Most of them were rural women. Their homes were destroyed by the attackers and were left with nowhere to turn. Survivors are scattered in makeshift camps throughout Tigray without adequate food and no medical or psychosocial support. My cousin, Elias Hagos, co-founder of Wagata, visited the camp and reported to us here, seeing women who appeared quite emaciated and withdrawn, with faces covered, heads bowed, likely suffering from PTSD, in silence and alone. Motivated by a desire to assist, he consulted the chief of the Tigray Women's Bureau for advice. She proposed an initiative that would be impactful, such as supporting a poultry farm to empower women by making a modest financial contribution. Members of our family, along with very close friends, raised approximately $2,000 within 24 hours. Following the guidance of the Women's Bureau, we initiated a pilot project involving 40 women in the area of Adwa, around Adwa, Ethiopia. Each participant received sufficient funds to purchase about 10 hens and a rooster. My niece, Zara, who is also co-founder, an agricultural expert, provided instructions on establishing and managing poultry farms. 8 months later, I went to visit the project site. At that time, 39 of the 40 women were successfully raising chickens, multiplying their flocks, generating sustainable income from egg sales, improving their children's nutrition, and purchasing new clothing. Most significantly, they had regained their self-confidence, their dignity, and economic independence. They spoke openly and proudly, no longer covered faces, about their business achievements. It was truly inspiring. In less than 2 years, we have been able to empower 202 women in similar manner. The positive changes themselves are remarkable. Additionally, 10 women have collectively pooled their resources to establish a grocery business selling various Ethiopian food products, spices, and beverages. As spectacular as these achievements are, there are tens of thousands of survivors who need support. We founded Wagahta. Wagahta is a beautiful word in Tigrinya, which means dawn. It's a 501c3 nonprofit based in New York. It symbolizes a new start, a new beginning for these women towards healing and empowerment. In addition to poultry farming, we intend to provide survivors with vocational training in areas such as basket weaving, pottery, and tailoring, as well as access to primary education. Our objective is to extend this program to conflict-affected regions within Ethiopia and beyond into neighboring countries, such as the Sudan and Democratic Republic of Congo, thus fostering compassion across borders. We have created a comprehensive proposal for institutional donors or individual philanthropists who may want to fund the project and or partner with us. We are seeking support from everyone to achieve our goal. Ending this vicious crime against humanity requires collective action. Wagahta Inc. demonstrates that showing empathy and standing with survivors of gender-based violence can significantly contribute to the healing and empowerment of women and girls. We encourage you to visit our website, www.wagahta.org, and view the video testimonials of inspiring women who have achieved significant transformation and changed their lives by overcoming numerous challenges. Thank you so much.
Do you want me to play it? We'll do it.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I like this one from Margot Wallstrom. Why this continues to be the problem. He says there are no rape cultures. There are only cultures of impunity. This is because many of the perpetrators are left unaccountable. Thank you.
شمي برزاف كرز كهري بهال يا مريم شويتها وشفت عرويني يا ونحنا كم يا مريم شويتها تعزله صقم وصحنا ايو سبنا يكون نوراتنا يكون تزارفنا عينا كاين جن نحنا زترفنا تصفى بزي مقراط سالا دق زله وشت عد زله يكون بمتحوار نحنا مجمرتنا من ما ينورنا مسدارها نامس زعم عنا عنا نيرنا طرحنا انا قارينا نيرنا او زي بدق انستيو صقم زحنا زصحك انت هايلنا جن ويزرا زهرا بهالا 5000 قرش متهاوانا بان غيرنا درو انن علي درو غزيه بأن سرحخو مكان سن مسرخوكو حمشش مثلا خالي وقا هم خالي مثلا شعو بأن قرنا نسرحخو ياو ترينا لها وزنوا هذا الساخونا أنا وزنوا هذا عصرت حمشت خونا ونوشت الله كم أتن تصفى زي مقراطيون ساتن كم حاجز رخيا نقوم زي كسرحة كم حاجز كبر لنقول نفوتو أنا نزم زياتن زحاجز ناس تايم مجلس وسنة ولين بسرن تايم خجلت أسيكلن يغني لنا بسرن تايم يغني لنا كرتي هاولنا أي خبرز فتو.
And then when women rise, nations heal. This is the quotation from Lima Obonwif, the Liberian Nobel Prize winner. Okay, so it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc, for being a champion for women, but most importantly, for taking actual steps to improving the lives of women and girls in your birth country, Ethiopia. So our last panelist is Dr. Ziver Bakwar. Is it doctor or just Ziver? Okay. Our last panelist is Ms. Ziver Bakwar, who is a Pakistani American who currently engages with the United Nations in multiple capacities as an advisor to the permanent mission of the United Nations. As an advisor at the permanent mission of Pakistan to the United Nations, UN policy representative for the International Association of Applied Psychology, youth representative for Women for Diplomacy, and founder of the Bakwar Foundation. She's also a Columbia University master's graduate. She specializes in the intersection of psychology, international relations, and sustainable development policy. Ziver represents the IAAP at major UN forums, including the UN General Assembly, climate summits, and ministerial conferences, building strategic partnerships that amplify psychological science in international policy. Her work focuses on mental health integration, gender equality, and evidence-based approaches to humanitarian and development challenges. Thank you so much for your work. Correct. And due to timing, she has decided to not make a presentation. So thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. But lastly, before we go on to the panelists and allow you all to ask questions, I would like to bring up someone earlier that we did not bring up. As you know, one of the founders of NIAD talked about the scholarships that's been given to students. And one of the recipients is here today. And it is incredibly important for us to acknowledge this particular student. Her name is Dilara Bayabar Moore, who is a recipient of the NEAPAD Scholarship, which supports promising young women in pursuing education and leadership opportunities. Through her dedication to learning and her commitment to making a difference in her community, she embodies the spirit of empowerment and opportunity that this scholarship represents. Please help me to warmly welcome Dilara, a NIAD scholarship recipient. Thank you so much.
Honorable ministers, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a great honor for me to be here with you today. My name is Dilara, and I'm a computer engineering student currently studying in the United States as an exchange student. This is my second semester, and being here in this environment has reminded me how powerful education can be when young women are encouraged to pursue their ambitions. My interest in computer engineering started with curiosity. I was always amazed by how technology works, how software can solve real-world problems, and how something as simple as lines of code can create tools that impact millions of people. But choosing computer engineering wasn't the most common path for young women. Like many girls who choose STEM fields, I sometimes found myself in rooms with far fewer women. In moments like that, you can start to question whether you truly belong there. What helped me overcome these moments was support from my family, my mentors, and organizations that believe in the importance of empowering girls through education. Support systems like one provided by NEAT play a very important role in this journey. They do more than simply encourage students academically. They create opportunities, build confidence, and remind young women that their goals are worth pursuing. Because sometimes what young women need isn't just resources, but someone who believes in their potential. Through my education, I have also come to understand something very important about technology. The systems we design today will shape the future we will live in tomorrow. Technology influences how we communicate, work, and solve global problems, and that is exactly why women's involvement in these fields is so important. When different perspectives are part of designing the future, the solutions become more truthful and better for everyone. But talent exists everywhere, opportunity doesn't always. Around the world, many girls still face barriers that prevent them from pursuing education or leadership roles. When we support girls' education, we are not only changing individual lives, we are creating future leaders and problem solvers. For me, being here today is an also opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to NEAT Association for their continuous support and for the important role they have played in my personal and academic journey. I truly hope one day, through my own achievements, I can inspire other young women to believe that they belong in this area. Because one girl is given the opportunity to learn, she doesn't only change her own future. She has the power to change the future of many others. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for those words, Miss Dilara Babayamor. Greatly appreciated. I think she said something that was very important in her speech. She said it's not just about giving young people the resources, right? It's not enough. Sometimes we think, have access to education, you have food, you have shelter. What more do you need? Well, she said she also wants, the youth want others to believe in their potential. To believe in their capacity to achieve their wildest dreams. So thank you for that, and congratulations. We wish you enormous success. Thank you. Okay, the last part of the program, hallelujah. So instead of me asking the panelists questions, I will open the floor for you all to ask questions you may have of the different panelists based on their presentation, or based on maybe you Google them while they were speaking, you learned something about them, and you would like them to elaborate. So we'll take a few questions. So who would like to go first? There you go, Professor. Please.
Please.
I would like to ask Ziva, as the youth representative of this panel, and also since this entire CSW is related to digital applications for the rights and empowerment of women, and since her foundation does that very thing, I'd like her to elaborate on technology for youth in applying to female programs, girls' programs.
Unfortunately,
The answer is from Ziva.
It's been a long day, so bear with us.
Thank you, Dr. Judy, for the question. And I think this is a very relevant question, especially in today's day and age. We've heard from a policymaker, we've heard from the professor at Columbia.
I don't think that's working. Can you just go?
We can hear you. We can hear.
You guys can hear me, right?
We can hear you just fine.
So, and I think we've heard from a Columbia professor, we've heard from policy advisor, we've heard from civil society. I think there's a lot of fear-mongering that often happens around technology. And I know it's fast, I know things are changing, but I think it's really important to understand how we can leverage technology to overcome a lot of barriers. We often talk about women empowerment, but we don't understand that we can leverage technology to help empower women. So in my foundation, we recently launched a beta project where in Pakistan, well, let me give you context first. In Pakistan, my foundation is located and we primarily target marginalized communities. And unfortunately, when I speak of marginalized communities, 80% of those are women and children. So we often see that after 5th grade, due to cultural and religious stigmas, girls often drop out of school. So in order to tackle that problem, what we did is leverage digital technologies. So we had, partnered with a Singaporean company where we gave girls tablets with pre-downloaded data and curriculum so they could self-learn. And in today's day and age, there is no excuse. I mean, we use poverty as an excuse, we use distance as an excuse, we use geographic locations as excuses. And technologies can be leveraged to overcome all those barriers. And what we've seen is using Khan Academy, which is a free online program, girls taught themselves geometry. They taught themselves social sciences. And what that does is it removes all the barriers to access. I know he was talking about opportunity and access, but a tablet does all of that. Everyone in the world has this, whether you're in Africa, whether you're 12 years old, whether you're 8 years old. This is all we need. And I think there's often a lot of fear-mongering, especially with headlines where you hear AI is coming to take over everything. But there's a lot of things that AI can help you with, whether it's translation. English is not the first language for a lot of kids. So what we have is actually we leverage OpenAI that translates Khan Academy's free courses to Urdu, so the girls can have access to those. So that's one of the many things that I think technology can be leveraged. I hope that answers your question, Dr. Jenny. Great.
Very well. Very well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Next, I would like to open the floor to allow for 3 additional questions for each one of the panelists. So one for Dr. Y, one for Dr. Judy, and one for Dr. Nur Hussein. And then we will close the program. Don't be shy.
Over here.
There you go. Over here.
Over here.
There you go.
Dr. Judy, COVID. When COVID hit our children, our students, our schools, can you tell this audience the far-affecting effect that you've seen with that whole scenario? And this was not a prepared question, folks.
I think it's been well documented, sadly, that COVID has put kids back in their intellectual development and their social development, because they were isolated from their peers too. So every country in the world has suffered from this, and has to make up for it. So teachers have to be working faster, kids have to be working faster, and sadly the rest of the world, all of us have to recognize that this is leading to a retardation that we're going to have to work very hard to make up. 2 years, 3 years of cutting kids off has been disastrous. It's a reality, and the only hope is for people to recognize that this has set kids back and then try to make up for it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Y, please feel free to pitch in.
I wanted to say something about this COVID. When COVID broke, I think you remember that. The prediction was Africa was going to be decimated. Everybody was going to die in Africa. And what happened? There were more deaths in developing countries than there were, in the industrialized countries, than there were in developing countries. Why was that? Sierra Leone, throughout the COVID pandemic, had about less than 1,000 deaths. 1,000 deaths. United States had millions. Other countries had millions too. Why did the developing countries that everybody thought was going to go out of those parts of the world were going to be dying? In those days, you could attest to that. The vaccines were not available. In fact, African countries could not afford to do it. So what did the diplomatic community, we did? We told the African leaders, forget about your country, come together as a collaborative. That would give you purchasing power to be able to save, to afford these vaccines. My embassy was the first embassy through personal relationship to get 40,000 vaccines to Sierra Leone. And that began that process. So when you work with people together, which Dr. Duda in one of his presentations said that very clearly, when you collaborate, you partner with other people, things happen. You cannot do it alone. If you want to do it alone, go to the moon. I want to end by asking myself, everybody, the question. Everybody comes here, and this is a wonderful program. But let me go to what I always say when we go to big, big programs. What next? What is your assignment from this intervention today? When you go home, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do about Wagata? What are you going to do about Ziva's program? What are you going to do with Naya? That, for me, is the takeaway. If you came, you just heard the vision, the speeches, it's wonderful. But what's next? I yield back.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, 2 more questions. We have a hand over there. The younger gentleman. You're young too, but go ahead.
We met before, and I really want to say how felt on the speech you gave. So out of your speech, you said something that actually sticks with me. You talked about shifting our focus, to humanities instead of politics, and that really resonated. Because currently I'm actually working on a youth leadership book that actually I feel like contributes to that. So as young people, young leaders, how do you think we should that should implemented? How do you think we can embrace that so we don't feel like, at the end of the day, we're in pursuit of a pie in the sky dream?
think I'm going to get into trouble saying this, but I don't care, because we are here to educate, to inform, and to work together. In many governments, and I could talk very fondly of my own, to the credit of the president, he decided to bring young people into government. And young people today, they do not want handouts. They want to be part of the decision making. And more often than not, I put myself there, we the old guards want to continue to always sit in the same place and don't open those opportunities to young people. What I would encourage the young people to do, do not wait to be invited to those meetings. Yes. Create your own circle of activities, your own empowerment circles, and that goes for the women too. Don't wait for government to do it. Government is not going to do it without pressure. When you think about the population today of the world, think of the Arab Spring. Young people did that. Africa, it is time for developing countries to understand, the young people understand that if you're going to wait for somebody to give you permission to do it, it's not going to happen. Make them do it. And the way you're going to make them do it, you have to be educated, you have to be disciplined, you have to work with each other, and we all have degrees, we have PhDs, and wonderful. You know, my grandfather used to say to me, when I write in these beautiful letters, he said, I don't eat PhDs, I eat food, until you're able to provide for me. So it is important for those people who have already made it to begin to look at giving internships or looking at young people and bringing them, mentor them. And I could proudly say, stand here and say today, that if I'm anything in this country, right man sitting right there was my mentor, Dr. Mohammed Nur Hussein. Give him a big round of applause. So, if you are in a position now, don't look down on the other young person, bring them in. Let them start watching you. I have my son here, William, he's right there. His wife is the biggest entertainer in Cameroon, big artist. And I tell him, I said, you know, he says, you know, Daddy, how do you know all about these things? I said, I'm doing it. So he's not going to diplomatic school, but he's better than many diplomats that I know. And of course, my colleague, Shai, is over there, who is government relations. And the lady from Trinidad and Tobago, Miss Sandra, she was an executive. Her son is now a big and successful person in this country. So these are the kinds of things you have to invest in people.
Yes.
And don't think that because you have a position, that's the end of it. I could stand here and talk, but at the end of the day, if you don't take action and stay focused, disciplined, and say, I don't want any permission from anybody. I'm going to sit in this chair and I'm going to make a contribution. I yield back. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So we'll take our last question from the other young gentleman. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure sharing in this education. So I just jotted this down real fast. What evidence-based education strategies have proven most effective in increasing opportunities for girls in underserved communities? It's an open question. What has proven the most effective?
If you repeat your question,
Go ahead.
So, what evidence-based education strategies have proven most effective in increasing opportunities for girls in underserved communities?
What evidence-based?
The battery on my hearing aid decided to go dead. So I'm not sure.
What evidence-based
educational approach? Yes, sir. Okay, so what evidence-based education strategies have proven most effective in increasing opportunities for girls in underserved communities?
For girls?
Yes.
In Africa?
In underserved communities, wherever.
Ambassador, no, we got a minute through o'clock, so I just want to
What evidence-based? Okay.
Ready to go. We're ready now.
Can you repeat the question for me?
There are two approaches.
What program that has been proven by evidence and research that helps with...
What program?
Yes, what program or programs that has been proven through research and through facts that help advance women and girls in society, that helps with the advancement of women and girls in societies.
Regarding my
Did you hear? That was a question.
Well, our program was developed out of necessity, out of the urgency, but we don't have to really wait for things like that to happen before we start working on empowering women. If we are really to remain human and whole, we have to realize that we cannot be that without recognizing the rights of women, because a nation is depriving itself of half of the talent and know-how and knowledge and able to develop if it doesn't recognize that's right. So empowering women is essential for any country's development, for it to be really whole. That's what I can say. I hope I got the gist of your question, but unfortunately I cannot hear too much today. The battery is gone.
No problem. Thank you so much, Dr. Nur Hussein. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
The programs that are being tested now for being most effective are ones that add what Ziva was talking about, and that is always a technological element to it, because that's the way education is going. That's how we're going to go. So the old programs were all about passé now. So there aren't ones that are so fantastic and tested now using all the scientific methodology, but the ones that are have these elements of self-learning with technological, items, because that's the only way that kids are learning now. But adding play for young kids and socialization for the older kids.
Thank you so much, Dr. Judy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our program for today. But most importantly, allow today's discussion to remind us that empowering women and girls through education is not only a matter of equity, it is a cornerstone of sustainable development and lasting peace globally. So on behalf of our hosts, and partners, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the distinguished ministers, panelists, and all of you, certainly, for contributing to this incredible exchange. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next year, same time, same place. Thank you.